Alright, I grabbed a couple extra to make it to 10 minutes or whatnot. I didn't want to make it past 10 minutes. I want to keep them at around 10 minutes. Gordon Lightfoot, what's the name of this one? Endless Wire. I kind of remember this album, but the thing about it is that if there's like a rule book to buying vinyl, one of them is if you see a Gordon Lightfoot album at a garage sale or something like that, you buy it. If you don't have it, you buy it. All this stuff is good. I'm a huge Gordon Lightfoot fan. I hate the fact that he's kind of just a dickhead, but it is what it is. Gordon Lightfoot does some incredible music. If you haven't heard Gordon Lightfoot, check him out. He's kind of a folky type singer. You know, he has a band or whatnot, but I mean, Gordon Lightfoot is good, and Gordon Lightfoot is Gordon Lightfoot, just like Frank Sinatra is Frank Sinatra. You can take a look at him on the back there. You know, even if he looks old or whatever on the album cover or whatever, pick it up. It's worth it. It's always worth it. He's a joy to listen to. It creates an ambiance that just really works. If you don't like it, you wasted $1. But if there's 10 rules to buying vinyl, one of them is, if it's a Gordon Lightfoot record, you saw it at a garage sale, it's $1, you pick it up. Blue Mitchell, I remember finding this at a thrift store and being just super happy that I found it because it's Blue Mitchell and he's a way underrated trumpet player. But then you come to find out that there's like, what, 4 trumpet players on there. I remember not paying hardly anything for it, so it's like whatever. It doesn't have any other... besides Blue Mitchell, and this is a late 70s album, it doesn't have any other members of the group that I recognize. And you know, he was a Blue Note player. He did some good albums with Blue Note. I really like him. He's underrated. There was a lot of underrated musicians back then because Miles Davis and John Coltrane kind of took the stage. And Blue Mitchell was a side player for, you know, some of the ones I like that I mentioned earlier, like Grant Green. He did an album with Stanley Turrentine. I wanted to say it was a Blue Mitchell album, but it wasn't. And he had a brother. Blue Mitchell had a brother, and he was a musician. I wish I could remember what he played, but he was a good musician. I think he was a sax player or something like that. Beat Up record, The Shifting Whispering Sands by Billy Vaughn. Can't say much about that. You know, picked it up cheap. Jim Croce, I have a couple different... I wish I had more Jim Croce albums, but this is Life and Times, and I have a couple different versions of this, or a couple different pressings of this. Jim Croce was that incredible person. Let me read the... Unless... Man, where's it? This is not a greatest hits album. I thought it was a greatest hits album. He does that, and you don't mess around with Jim. He was a great folk artist. He did some stuff with... Man, I wish I could remember the name. I think it was James Taylor. But anyway, he was really good and did some great music. And he gave it up so he could spend time with his family and then died in a plane crash. But the couple albums that you hear, Time in a Bottle, man, there's a really good one that just doesn't come to mind. A song that I love. It's another one of those. I've said it over and over again. Embodies a time and a place. That's one of them. The Don't Mess Around with Jim was a swing song, and when I used to swing dance, they played that song from time to time. Music from the film More, Pink Floyd. This is a good Pink Floyd album. It's not a great Pink Floyd album. You know, the ones that are in that vein, this is from... It's got a Good Harvest label on it. You know, the green one. But the album's beat. I mean, it's in 2 pieces right here. So... But it's a good Pink Floyd album, not a great Pink Floyd album. You know, has the ambiance to it. I had it when I was young on CD. I picked up everything Pink Floyd because I love Pink Floyd. You know, my parents had a couple of records, and then I was like, wow, I got to get into them. And they were one of the first bands, especially if you want to consider them progressive. They're one of the first progressive bands I ever got into. Cheap Thrills, Big Brother and the Holding Company. Okay, this is good stuff. Janis Joplin, before she was Janis Joplin. There's a picture of her right there. This is good. It's got a rhythm and blues feel to it. It's good stuff. I picked this up because it was worth something, and, you know, I must have looked it up or whatever. It's some kind of pop music from the late 60s. Don't know much about it, but when you see stuff really cheap, you know, at a garage sale or whatever that's in mint condition, and it's worth something, you might as well pick it up, because if you want to, you can trade it or sell it later. This is the Jacksons after Michael Jackson. I I don't remember what it sounds like. It's, you know, if it's the Jacksons and it's not the Jackson 5 and it doesn't have Michael Jackson, chances are nobody's ever heard any of the songs on there. See if it has a custom label. It's just the Epic label. I wish I would have grabbed a few more. It would have been nice, you know, because I thought that this would be enough to make it to the 10-minute mark. So, and not quiet. I can go and try to grab a few more real quick. This is John Michael Jarre, Equinox. It sounds a lot like Vangelis. I have this on CD. I played it around my kids. It's ambient type, a little bit synthesizer type music made by this individual right here. This is his most famous album. It's good. Let me go grab a few. Yeah, it's hard to have high quality entertainment when you're running around all over the place, but I want to make it up to a close to 10 minutes. Pyromania, Deflepard, not their greatest album. High and Dry and On Through the Night, their first two albums were the best ones. What's famous on here, I think this is after the two popular albums that had Photograph on it and Pour Some Sugar on Me. I think it was right after that. I'm not a real big, if it's not those first couple albums, I'm not a real big fan of Def Leppard. I know them when I hear them, and I think most people do, but if it's not heavy rock and it's that poppy stuff, I don't really like it. But the first album, On Through the Night's really good, and the second album, High and Dry, is really good. I never opened this up. I found it somewhere. Captain Beefheart. It's 180 gram vinyl. You can see it right there. I like Captain Beefheart a lot. The problem with this particular album is, and I never opened it up, I figured I'd just keep it in the shrink wrap, maybe sell it or something, is that I know that these versions, if they have that 180 gram on there, it's a certain, I can't remember who sells these or who distributes them, but they take it off the worst copy they can possibly find. They're just trying to cash in on the money. And that's a darn shame. But if you see this 180 gram, they do some Motorhead stuff, some, you know, just anything that they can. Now, this is a good album. Spotlight Kid. There's a good picture of Captain Beefheart. Captain Beefheart was a contemporary of Frank Zappa. They're similar. Maybe Captain Beefheart stuff's a little more laid back and a little less satirical, even though it is satirical. But it is, or no, but it probably is about more satirical, actually. But I like Captain Beefheart. Yes, I do. Greatest. This is one of the greatest jazz albums of all times. I found it somewhere. It's a Blue Note reissue. It's in terrible, terrible condition. It's at the Club Baby Grand. It has Thornell Schwartz and Donald Bailey, or Thornell Schwartz on guitar and Donald Bailey on drums. This has a volume 1 and a volume 2. He has 3 live albums. JimmySmith, an organ player. He has 3 live albums that are absolutely incredible. One of them is the Baby Grand, and that's what this is. Well, this is initially what that is. You know, Baby Grand, Willington, Delaware. It's incredible. There's a Blue Note label. It's just a really, really good album. He is a mesmerizing organ player. Nobody quite plays like him. Wow. I mean, I wish I could think of the other two. It's not, what's the name of the one with the blue cover? It's not, anyway, I'm going to mess myself up, but he has 3 live albums that are some of the best albums you've ever heard in your life. Crab Tunes, Noggins. My wife made fun of me because of this. The record's not in there. The record must be in a different thing. But it actually has no, that ain't Blue Mitchell. That's Bill Mitchell. I don't know why I always get that confused. There's a picture of the band. This is just very out there stuff. It's actually pretty good, but it's been years and years since I heard it. And I played it in front of my wife, and my wife made fun of me. So, here's something that was Music for Dancing by the Vapors. I mean, I don't even know why I have this. Buddy Kirk Orchestra. It's garbage. I mean, I can tell you right now, it's garbage. It's got a custom label, though. Somebody recorded it. It'd be interesting. You know, I'm not going to sit here and look at it forever, but it'd be interesting enough. That's why. Hot Springs, Arkansas. Something made right here locally. It's probably, I mean, I don't want to shit all over it right here and right now, but it's probably garbage. Capital, the Music Man. I listened to this when I was a kid. I picked it up somewhere, and I thought it was pretty good. It was interesting for what it was. I watched the movie and all that. Gary, Indiana. I can't think of really much from it, but I kind of like the music for a nostalgic feeling. Not that it's very good, or not that it's anything very, you know. I think there's a song on this album that is on, and I don't know which one it is. It plays on one of my favorite movies, The Big Lebowski. They play a Captain Beefheart song on there. I'm at about 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop it right here. You know, Captain Beefheart's good. His best was that Trout Mask replica, and I have it, and it's an incredible album. It's another Warner Brothers. So, thanks you guys.